Chag Pesach kasher v'sameach. A happy Passover, and may it be kosher. Oy, kosher for Passover. That's an awful lot of work. How are we going to get it accomplished? I won't have all the answers for you today, but I'll try to give you some general ideas about how the Jewish world goes about getting ready for Passover. There is, as you might expect, a lot of cleaning involved. But before I get started, let me just let you know that I am Rabbi Cantor Ann Heath. I serve Congregation Agudath Achim in Taunton, as well as the greater Jewish community in the towns surrounding Taunton. I'm glad that you're here to learn from us today from this brief video. Feel free to join us in the heart of Taunton when you have a chance to learn more. All right, so off we go. What's kosher for Passover? Lots of things are kosher for Passover, but what are we not going to have for the 7 days or the 8 days of Passover? We're not going to have chametz. Chametz is anything that is leavened, and not just anything that's leavened, but anything made from 5 grains: barley, rye, oats, wheat, or spelt. So as part of our preparations for Passover, the entire family is engaged in making sure that any remnants of chametz are long gone from the house. And not just from the house, but from your car, from your pockets, from your pocketbook, from your backpack, from, I hope you don't eat in your bedroom, but if you do, cracker crumbs or cookie crumbs that you might have snuck into your bedroom, those are gone. If you were having a nosh when you were doing your homework on the couch, on the sofa, in your living room, or down in the playroom next to the computer, wherever you've been eating anything that's chametz, you need to make sure that you've cleaned it out. So this isn't just getting rid of the dust bunnies for spring cleaning. This is getting rid of all of the remnants of chametz, all the leavened grain products. But while you're busy getting rid of all of these leavened grain products, what else should you be doing? Well, let me tell you, don't you think cleaning house is boring? I know I don't think it's a lot of fun. And there are lots of other things I'd like to do besides cleaning house. And even if searching for chametz and getting rid of it is part of my religious practice, it can take some time. So what do? Well, I do something even harder. I think about all of the things that leaven me up, that make me bigger, that make me think about how great I am. Like maybe, oh, I'm such a good rabbi. I do a better job than someone else. My kids have a better life than someone else. Do I think of these things? Well, maybe not all the time, but I have children and I'll show you their pictures, and I have grandchildren, I'll show you their pictures, and let me tell you, my grandchildren are better than anybody else's. They're more cute, they're adorable, they're wonderful. Well, those kinds of thoughts might be normal, you think, but they really do puff me up. They make me think a lot of myself when actually having wonderful grandchildren, having wonderful children, having a great congregation to serve, that's not something that I got for myself. That's a gift. So along with all of the breadstuffs that are leavened, that puff us up, it's time to be a little more humble and a little more modest. And I'm going to spend my time when I'm cleaning out my cupboards and the cracker crumbs out of my car and the leftover brownie that I brought home from the sisterhood meeting that I tucked into my purse. I need to get those crumbs gone too. And I'm going to think about how I can be a better person and not be so worried about who I am and pay attention more to other people. So that's a little bit about chametz, and let's get started figuring out exactly what chametz looks like when it's in your cupboard. Chametz. How do I find chametz? The easiest thing to do, the first thing to do, is just to open the cupboard doors. What are you going to find there? You're going to find pasta. And once you've found the pasta, you have to decide what to do with it. But it might be easiest just to put a sticker on it that says it's chametz in case you forget later on. So, stop. Chametz. Don't eat that. What else is chametz? Well, cookies are chametz. Even if they're gluten-free, they still have leavening products in them. Those cookies, nope, can't have those for Passover. Can you have cookies for Passover? Oh yes, there are Passover cookies made with a special recipe. Stop chametz. They have leavening. Now I mentioned that leavening has barley, rye, oats, wheat, and spelt. Boom chicka pop. Boom chicka pop, if you look at the back, there is no barley, no rye, no oats, no wheat, or no spelt. Same thing with this lovely package of rice. What's going on here? Well, in Europe, our rabbis and sages decided 1500, 1300, quite a while ago, that just like leavening products in breads and pasta from the 5 grains, these things also rise and expand. Just like our souls and our spirits can expand when we're too full of ourselves, or even when we get so excited about something and we go the wrong direction. Popcorn, if you studied American history, corn is an American product, or maize. Corn is really little, and it pops and it puffs up. So if you're from Europe originally, that's where your Jewish family is from, you eat neither rice. So we'll put our stop chametz symbol on the rice. Chametz. Same thing for the boom chicka pop. However, if your Jewish family came from Spain or Portugal, and after the expulsion from those countries in 1492 and 1495, and you headed for Italy, Greece, or if you went to North Africa, or if you're part of the Jewish world that never left the Middle East, that has lived a long time in Iran or Iraq or any of the Arab countries, for you, rice is kosher for Passover. So we can have rice. And even though there was no corn in those lands in ancient times, it's kosher for Passover. So it's Passover. We're cleaning out our cupboards. You might look at the rice, at the popcorn, at the cookies, at the cakes, at the brownie mixes, at all of those delicious crackers, at the goldfish. Do you have goldfish in your cupboards? Do you eat goldfish snacks in the car? Let me tell you, you're not having those if you're Jewish for Passover. You might ask, what am I going to be eating? I love my pasta, I love my crackers, and I love cookies. What you're going to be eating is, ta-da, here it is, matzah. Now the word is matzah. You notice this says matzot, which is one of the ways to make that word plural. And if you look at the side of the box, what's in it? Passover flour and water. There is no leavening agent, no baking soda, no yeast, nothing like that. Why, you ask? Well, this is indeed kosher for Passover. There's our little sticker. It's because when our ancestors left the land of Egypt, we had to leave so fast, we only had time to make bread that didn't even rise. It took less than 18 minutes, according to our rabbis and sages. So even though matzah looks a lot like this package of crackers, even though they're bigger, these have baking soda in them, and they're not kosher for Passover, and these are. Now you might ask, I know somebody who has brownies on Passover. How come they're eating brownies on Passover? That's because the brownies are made with ground up matzah, with matzah meal that turns into a flour. And without a leavening agent, they turn into brownies. Are they made out of chocolate? Yes, but they're kind of thick and chewy. They don't taste the same as regular brownies during the year, unless your cook, your baker, is really, really good. And we all love those bakers because we love yummy brownies all around the year, not just when it's not Passover. So, crackers in your purse, crackers in the cupboard, crackers underneath your books on your study table, crackers in the car. I don't know about your car, but sometimes if your mom or your dad or you let people eat in your car, it can be messy. We're going to figure out what it takes to find all of that chametz, all of the leavened products we can't eat. You know, we're not the first generation of Jews who's had to get ready for Passover. There are actually books and lists and websites, and one that I can recommend is called Countdown to the Seder. It has a lot of planning information, and it has lots of lists for grown-ups, lists for kids. It comes from a very traditional Jewish point of view, and there are a variety of practices across the Jewish spectrum, not only depending upon which country of origin your family has, but also just what your own customs are. I encourage you to find this or other resources that will help you figure out what to do for your Passover Seder. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time. And if you go to someone's house as a guest, they might not even do it the same way you do it. Be sure to ask in advance what their custom is in their family. In order to celebrate Passover, a Seder occurs. What's the purpose of a Passover Seder? It actually doesn't have to take very long just to do some of the basics. But the Passover Seder was instituted as an educational opportunity for parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and big brothers and big sisters to have the youngest children know what's going on, because it's a very different kind of meal. It's not the kind of meal that you have throughout the year, not that kind of dinner. So rather than just willy-nilly letting parents figure out how to teach their children, our rabbis and sages came up with the order of the Seder. And part of learning about the Seder includes learning what happens before the Seder. The educational opportunity that happens for preparation is outlined in this great book. This Going on a Chametz Hunt is for our youngest students. Let me read it for you while you take a look and read along and enjoy the photos. Going on a Chametz Hunt by Jacqueline Jules, illustrated by Rick Brown. Let's go on a chametz hunt. Grab a flashlight. I'm in front. What will we find under the bed? 1, 2, 3 crusts of bread. What will we find behind the door? 4, 5 cookies on the floor. Pick up the cushion, give it a shake. 6, 7, 8 bits of cake. Should we look beneath the sink? 9, 10 pretzels. That's all, I think. Quickly now, work together. Sweep that chametz up with a feather. Clean it up, bag it tight. We're ready now for Seder night. Did you hear something strange in that story? Something about a feather and a flashlight? Just in time, all of the Jewish stores or online sell these wonderful packets called Bedikat Chametz, the search for chametz, even blessings and instructions included. Let's open it up and see what's inside. First, a feather. You may find lots of things to clean in the grocery store or at the hardware store, but a feather will really allow you to carefully gather all the little crumbs. Where are you going to put the crumbs when you find them? You're going to shake them off and put them in the wooden spoon. How are you going to see where they are? You're going to use a candle. Now, I have a hunch that your mom and dad or your aunt and uncle and your grandparents, they're going to say, a candle with a flame and a feather? Not my little boy, not my little girl. So, just like we heard in that great story going on a chametz hunt, we use a flashlight. Do we expect the chametz hunt to get every little last bit of crumb? No, this is very much a ritual because it's an instruction. It's a way for us to teach our children how to do this so that when they have the bigger job of cleaning everything out and finding it, they'll have this very last piece together. Having found all the little crumbs and put them in the spoon, and if you have a very crumbly house, you might need more than one spoon, but sometimes, especially if the children are really little, you put little pieces of bread around for them to find. All of this gets spooned into a paper bag. You can even spoon it back into this bag. And the next morning, you close it all up. You take it somewhere very safe where you can have a fire, and you burn all of it. So this has been Bedikat Chametz, the search for Chametz. The next morning it's Biur Chametz. And we burn up all of the Chametz. If you have Chametz that you don't want to get rid of, I mean, maybe you just went to one of the grocery stores and you've got cupboards full of pasta, cans full of pasta, jars of rice, all kinds of things, and you go, wait a minute, I can't just get rid of all of that because it's Passover. You can do Mechirat Chametz, and you can transfer ownership to your rabbi, who will transfer ownership to someone who's not Jewish. So for that entire period of Passover, you don't officially own those. Jews have been doing this for centuries. What if you're a Jewish person who owns a grocery store, who owns a mill that makes cookies? What are you going to do with everything you own? You transfer it to ownership to someone else who's not Jewish, and then you get it back. There's a lot to it, and we'll learn more the next time. But that's what happens. And there's one other thing that can happen to all of that chametz. And you can do what some of our students are doing. You can donate it to people who are hungry. And that's one of the most important things about teaching our children, is how to handle the holidays, not only practically speaking, with the feather, with the spoon, but religiously speaking and spiritually speaking. I hope that in your cupboard at home, you have enough food. I think most of us do. And there are things that we can donate for those who are hungry. Especially in the Jewish community, if we know someone is not going to be able to celebrate Passover, and celebrate means you have enough to eat. It doesn't just mean look at it in the calendar and say, oh, it's Passover, isn't that nice? You have enough to eat, right? And so boys and girls, I'm telling you, when you go on a chametz hunt and you find all of your crumbs, find some boxes in your cupboard that you should give to people who are hungry, and some of the matzah that you bought, make sure that that goes to people, Jewish, who can't celebrate without it. And if you don't know anybody who needs that matzah, then donate to Jewish Family and Children's Services so they can help those families. All right, off to another book, The Chametz Hunt, a searching and counting book by Sarah Blau, illustrated by V. Bouthiet. On Bedikat Chametz night, wait a minute, here if you're looking, it says Bedikas Chametz. Well, Bedikas, Bedikat, there are different ways to say the same word. Don't worry about it. If you're watching this on the screen as it goes along, I'll say it the way I'm used to. On Bedikat Chametz night, not a moment too soon, a chametz hunt starts with a feather and spoon. Come, join the search. Do you think you can spot the pieces of chametz well hidden or not? A wax candle in hand, Abba leads the way. The search for 10 pieces, all hidden away. As you can tell from the pictures, Abba probably means father, and it does. It means kind of like daddy. The search party heads to the kids' rooms to start to hunt for the chametz. They'll each do their part. Number 1. And what do you know, without too much sweat, they find number 1 next to Dolly's tea set. On to the dining room, they're not standing still. They see number 2 on the windowsill. Piece number 3 is in the best spot, hiding out next to the flower pot. Can you guess where they find piece number 4? It is sitting behind the coat closet door. They reach the garage and they search near each box. They find number 5 on the box with their blocks. The library is next. They all look around. There, right on the desk, number 6 is found. And piece number 7 looks super clean as it waits around on the washing machine. To find number 8, do you think they'll be able? Sure, it's right near the lamp on the small wooden table. They search the baby's stuff. Is there bread in her bib? No, piece number 9 peeks out from the crib. The last place to look is the family den. Look, there on the couch is piece number 10. They all clap their hands. Yay, we found all 10. Now, who's putting the house back together again? So they all go around and tidy each room, and they're ready for Pesach, for Passover. Not a moment too soon. So I think you can tell by looking at the pictures in this family, Dad and Mom, Abba ve'Ima, they planted small pieces of bread, of cake, of cracker on a little piece of paper so their children could find them. Let's take a look at all of these numbers at the end of the book. Let's count. 1, achat, 2, shtayim, 3, shalosh, 4, arba, 5, chamesh, 6, shesh, 7, sheva, 8, shemona, 9, tesha, 10, eser. 10 pieces of chametz that they found. Having done all of this cleaning, the real cleaning and the ritual cleaning of bedikat chametz, it's time for the Seder. And just as the kinds of foods that we eat shouldn't be the kinds of foods that puff up and expand, that are leavened, we should look into ourselves to make sure the parts of us that are puffed up and expanded are reduced to the right size to make us the best kind of person. And then when we're involved in the Passover Seder and we learn about the Exodus from Egypt and the enslavement of the Jews in the land of Egypt and how they yearned to be free and how Moses got them out along with the hand of God, to all of these miracles that are part of the story of Exodus in the Hebrew Bible, in the Old Testament, we can also look at these and learn about things in our own lives. Where are we enslaved? Where do we need to be free? How's that going to happen, and who can we count on? Maybe we're enslaving others. We have them caught up in things that aren't helpful for them. When do we need to back off and let them grow and expand, which is a different kind of growing and expanding than leavened products. But enough of the little sermon. I wanted to teach you about bedikat chametz, how to clean a little bit for Passover. There's so much more information you can find online in many books at the Lakeville Library, at all kinds of libraries around. Talk to the grown-ups, talk to your friends, talk to your parents, talk to a rabbi, talk to a cantor, talk to a teacher, talk to anyone who learns more, and learn more yourself and share it, because this is great fun. It's not boring. Judaism is full of joy and life, and I encourage you to be part of it when you have a chance. Whether or not you're Jewish, come celebrate. Chag Kasher V'Sameach. Chag Pesach. Chag Pesach Kasher V'Sameach. Thank you.